we are highlighting our senior move managers. Now, we work with 4 senior move manager companies. Today, we are going to highlight 2 of them on stage. If I could bring all 4 of them up on stage, I would, but we don't have time in this hour program. So we're gonna highlight 2 of them. I want you to see how they work with our prospects in helping you downsize, because it's not a scary process at all. It's kind of funny, before I do one of these programs, I always reflect on the stories that I've heard from some of our residents over the years, and believe me, I've heard plenty. But there's always a few that always stay with me. And so I always have a few of them. I want to share a few of them. One of them was Norma. I ran into her right before I did a program just like this. And I gave her a hug, and she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm working on a presentation that I'm doing for downsizing." And she said, "Oh, I remember downsizing." She was one of our very first residents into our very first building, Cottonwood Court. And I said, "You remember that?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, what do you remember?" She said, "I think my biggest concern was that I would have regrets over something I didn't bring." Okay, that's fair. I said, "Okay, 11 years later, how many regrets have you had?" She said, "None so far." So I want you to keep that in mind. These stories are coming from our residents, okay? The next story I want to tell you about is Darla. I had her up on stage with me 2 years ago. She was adorable. I wish I could bring her back, but again, we have a very short time, so I'm going to tell you her story. Darla is part of our writers group. If you are a writer, you're going to want to join that group because they're so adorable. They are given a topic to write about every week, and then they not only write about it, but they share it with each other. So she wrote a story on downsizing hell. That's exactly what it was called. And it was about packing too much stuff. Now, she decided to downsize herself, okay, from a 7,000 square foot home. Any of you can relate? Yeah. To a 2,000 square foot apartment here at Crest. Okay, and she did it herself. When I had spoken to her, she had been here for 2 months. She was still unpacking. Now, she had already run out of room to unpack because she had unpacked all the stuff they didn't need and put it away. And those things were wine glasses and carafes. I see one woman in the audience going, we did that too when we were talking. We were laughing, and she was giggling too. And so what her and her husband were doing at that point was they were repacking all those items that they didn't need so that they could repack those to get them out of the cabinet so that they could unpack the items that they really did need. So I asked her, "Well, how many wine glasses did you bring?" And she said, "Please don't ask." And I said, "Well, Darla, I really want to know." And she said, well, her words, "Well, we had an economy box of 18, plus another 12 in the closet, and several carafes." She goes, "But those carafes take up a lot of room." Okay. So I said, "Wow, you guys must really enjoy wine." She goes, "We don't drink." Okay, that's where the story is cute, right? But I said, "So why did you bring so many wine glasses?" She goes, "Well, we love to entertain." Okay, so this is where the thought process comes in. So you have to think about how how your life is going to change. She can still entertain, right? So I said, "Do you think maybe 6 wine glasses might be okay?" She goes, "We always worried about breaking something." Okay. She goes, "How about 8? I said, "I think that's fair." I said, "So instead of bringing the carafes, could you pour the wine out of the bottle?" She said, "Yeah, I think so." So, I mean, we helped her get to that point. So the second part of the story with Darla is also really cute. It's about clothing. Anybody can relate? Yeah, I think we all can. She told me that before she came to Crest, she thought that Crest was going to be a place where when she walked into the dining room, people would be looking at her and how she was dressed. And that she would need to be dressed, in her words, to the nines in being very fashion. She said after 3 weeks of living here and being seated with different people every night, that she realized she could wear the same outfit for 3 days in a row. And she has. So now she realized she could actually downsize her closet, which I thought was also very cute. So these are, again, the really cute stories I want you to keep in mind. Okay? One more. A quick one. A year ago, one of our residents who had just moved in was in attendance for this event a year before that. And she saw us here and she said, I have to tell you something. She said, when I was here a year ago, she said, you were talking about downsizing being liberating. And she kept doing that. And she said, and feeling like there was less weight on your shoulders. And I said, she said, I walked away thinking, liberating my butt. Those were her words. And I had a laugh because, of course, there are several of you in the audience who are definitely non-believers because you haven't started yet. And I totally get that. So it was a year later. She was already a resident. And I said, okay, how did you feel? How did you feel when you started downsizing? She goes, it was liberating. So you got to start, okay? So I want you to look at our stage. This is called managing your move, right? Actually, it looks more like managing your mess, right? What we have here is definitely a mess, but I want you to kind of play around here and picture this. This could be any place in your home, right? This could be a closet with extra blankets and comforters in there. It could be, I think we have an area where I think there's a shelf with a bunch of purses in there. That could be the top shelf in your master closet. Am I wrong? Right. We have a bunch of tablecloths hanging over here. That could be that second or third closet that I walk into, and I always ask to peek, right? And I open it and I go, there they are. There's all the tablecloths. And you know what I'm talking about. There's 20 of them. And you're laughing because you know I'm right. They've all been laundered and pressed. They're all hanging neatly, and most of them are still in the bags so they don't get dusty. And how many of them do we use? One or two or zero? Because you probably don't even have the table that fits that size tablecloth. Yeah, I'm teasing, but you know I'm kind of being truthful here. But there's a lot of stuff here, and it could be anywhere. It could be your basement. Could be the hall closet on the way out to the garage. It could be a garage shelf, too. What we've done here is we've kind of just represented someplace. It could be a living room after you've been sick for a weekend and you just kind of let things go. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to bring out some of our residents. We're going to also bring out our senior move managers, and we're going to kind of transform this stage. I really want you to see how our senior move managers work with our prospects. Okay. This is Janie and Scott Cantine. They have been residents of ours for 1 month, so they just moved in. Can you tell me the reason that you decided to move to Crest?
Yes, we had been thinking about it for several years. We planned to move when we reached a certain age, and we wanted to give a gift to our children, and we felt that that was a gift. Our children are on the East Coast and the West Coast, and we also wanted to come together. We wanted to come while we had a reasonable health and could enjoy some of the amenities and the multitude of activities that are offered here.
Perfect. Okay. Now, I know that the two of you actually did your downsizing, most of your downsizing by yourself.
You're right. We did most of it.
But you did use one of our senior move managers, who I'm going to introduce in a moment, to pack you up the day before your move.
Yes.
So you weren't living with boxes for weeks.
Right.
And when you got to Crest, you had them help you unpack.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to ask Lynn and Melissa to join us. And I want you to see how Lynn and Melissa work with Janie and Scott in if they were going to help downsize, how they would do it. Because if they were in their house, what they'd be doing is basically what you're seeing them do, sitting there and asking them to make some decisions. What you're also, I want to point out on the stage, we've got 3 boxes here. We have Holloway, we have Donate, and we have Crest. Okay? The only one we don't have is trash. We did have that, but our special projects people are so good that when they actually helped us clear away the stage a couple years ago, they threw away the trash. So you would also, trash is a big one. You would always have a trash. So I'm going to give you all, you folks, a few minutes to just work, and I'm going to turn off my mic here, and I'm going to let you all work.
Okay. So I'm Lynn, this is Melissa, and we were from Space Management, and we're going to work with these guys, trying to demonstrate how we do downsizing when we do work with our clients. And when we come in, we do approach it. We know that a lot of these things have memories for them, and we treat them with respect, our clients and the items, because we know the memories are there, and everything here means something to them, might have a story behind it or whatever. So we try and be very kind about it. We've been told that we're like having the daughters come in and help them with the downsizing process.
They're very kind, let me tell you.
Thank you. I'll pay you later. Okay, so we want to start with something?
Sure, I'll start with the baskets. Seems like you have several baskets
Yes,
here.
baskets are my very favorite thing. I love baskets.
I can tell. Do you
They're
think,
good to put things in. I need baskets.
I kind of like baskets too, but maybe we could do with maybe just 2 of the bigger ones and let some of the smaller ones go. What do you think?
I don't know. What do you think, Scott?
What do you use them for?
Well, a basket looks pretty. And sometimes I just set it someplace. And then put flowers in it.
This
I
one's
use
kind of
baskets
pretty.
a lot.
Maybe we could keep this one.
Okay.
So
and I
yes.
can change those ribbons on
Oh,
it
that's
for
a
the
great
season.
idea.
Good idea.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can
idea.
we'll
downsize
keep
that
this.
category and take some of it, but
But
just
how
not
do I
everything.
know that that's the basket I want to keep?
Oh, well, Lynn has a great system.
She has. Well,
You want to
what's
talk
her
about the blue
system?
tape? I know you're dying to talk about the blue tape.
I'm dying to
I haven't
talk
seen you
about the
without
blue
it.
tape.
I'll put these
like
in the
part
right
of her.
boxes.
When Lynn came to visit and go through our house, she mentioned that they would come in and put blue tape on everything. This is just painter's tape. And so I went right away to Home Depot and got myself some blue tape. And it was such a help and such an asset, because then I could go around and put blue tape on things that I wanted them to take. And it was really, really helpful. And it also gave me an opportunity to change my mind. I'd put blue tape on this lamp one day, and then the next day I decided I didn't need that lamp and I could move it over to another one. So blue tape, if you're planning to move out here, get some, and get some now.
And I have to say it helped us a lot on packing day as well, because sometimes when we arrive to pack, we can spend an hour going through the house. We're going to take this artwork, we're taking that lamp, this is not going, this is not. We walked into their house and every single item with blue tape had blue tape, not just the furniture, but pieces of artwork, vases, lamps, bookshelves, even in the kitchen, like one shelf was not going to go, so there's no blue tape on that. I mean, packing was a snap. It was so easy because of the blue tape.
Well, that might be a stretch. Packing was a snap, but she's being very kind about it.
It was very easy.
It saved not only packing time, but saved quite a bit of money for them as well.
Yeah.
Because they were so organized.
Yeah. Okay, how about this little raccoon here?
Oh,
He's kind of cute.
Well, the raccoon has a story about
Oh,
it.
a story,
oh,
huh?
a story.
Okay.
Oh, I tell you, that is important.
Oh,
Very important. I got that when I graduated from the 8th grade.
oh,
And I'm not sure I can part with that, Janie.
Can you look at it and just remember it? Because you know we are trying to have the memories, but we don't need the stuff. So could the raccoon live someplace else?
Well, maybe I could do that, but I need to probably think about it
You
a
have to
while.
think about
Do you
it.
wanna
get-
hold it for
to
a
make
little
sure
bit?
I've got right. Okay, I've got the memory now.
There you
I
go.
think that can go.
It
Should
can
we
go-
donate it?
I
So
think
somebody
that-
else
Oh,
can-
I'm
Yes,
sure
yes,
somebody
we
would
should
want
donate
that.
it.
Okay.
That's a very good
We'll
idea.
donate.
Okay, that's what
We'll
we'll do is
donate.
It can
donate
go
this.
live
Okay,
with somebody
that's good.
else.
Okay, now I see more baskets here. Are we in the category now where you've got what you need and we can, Move these
I
along?
can live with
with what you have picked out?
yes, I
Okay.
can live
Okay,
with
perfect.
those
Take
baskets.
these baskets. We're going to,
And if we get rid of the
donate.
raccoon, that'll be space for a basket.
Okay.
So that's good.
I think we should talk about these
I
bags.
think you're right. Let's talk about the bags.
Oh, now the bags. We're not going to go to the bags.
There's a bag story here.
We're
Now,
gonna
weren't
keep
you
these
talking to
bags?
me about memories?
Yes. And I know some of you ladies can relate. When you shop and you buy an article
My
for
goodness.
$3.98, you get a beautiful bag with it. And you might need that bag to re-gift. And I've been saving those bags for 40 years.
Yes.
I can tell.
We have a
I have-
basket of bags.
I have bags that are now probably collectible. So I don't know, but I'm not going to have that much space. I'm going.
Probably not.
How
And
about
I'm-
one of each size?
And the other thing, I have discovered gift cards. And gift cards just go in an envelope.
There
You
you
don't
go.
need to stick
That's a
them
great
in a bag.
solution.
So we
space
can get
saving.
rid of those.
All of them can go?
All of them can go. This is
Okay.
emotional, but just get them out of my sight.
Okay.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
I remember, Janie, when I came out to your house.
Yes.
Weren't those bags in your garage?
Those bags were in my garage.
Were there 2 shelves of bags?
Yes. And Beth.
Holly or-
What did I
Beth's-
ask you?
Beth's visit, let me preface this, Beth. Her visit was wonderful, and she was very, very helpful. We got a little edgy over turkey roasters, but we moved beyond turkey roasters. But when we got in the garage and got to the bags, and she asked me, "Do you really need all these bags?" That's when I said to her, "And it's time for you to go home now."
She did, and this is exactly the moment when I fell in love with Janie.
That's funny. So, okay, comforters. Are these for your guest room now? Will you need them at the new place?
No, I won't need those
Okay.
at the new place.
Okay.
So you
I
can,
can get to
you
them
can
from
get
here.
rid of those.
get rid
You'll have to reach those, Lynn.
And I won't have space for them. This is what I have to keep in mind. I'm not going to have that kind of space. I'm not
Right,
going to
thank
have
you.
all the closets.
Same with the pillow? You won't need this pillow or?
No, I won't. It's a favorite pillow, but I can remember it. I can remember
Keep
it.
that in your memory bank?
Yes,
That's in the memory bank.
that's
Perfect.
in the memory
Okay,
bank.
perfect.
Janie and Scott, I want to ask you some questions, okay?
Scott, you get to answer everything.
I'm going to come closer because I feel like I'm so far away from you. There was a story about mismatched china, and being told, Janie, that you shouldn't give it away. What was that story?
I had totally mismatched china that I had collected probably for 40 years. I probably had 40, maybe 50 years of china. And some of the dishes were broken and they were chipped, and people had given me some and I'd inherited some. And I tried to tell people when we entertained, oh, it's nice to have different plates. But then I realized I didn't like those dishes, and I didn't like all the mismatching. And the process of downsizing was emotional enough and hard enough that I needed to do something fun for myself. So I packed up all those dishes that I didn't like, took them to ARC, and I went and bought new dishes that I loved 8 play settings, just 8. And I bought them with the idea that I was going to be moving to Crest, and it was fun for me, and it was a way for me to emotionally get my head around. I was going to be living in a smaller space, but it could be fun, and I could have something that I really enjoyed.
Okay, that's perfect. You also had told me a story about boxing up things for the kids, and the kids never coming around to see. Y'all run into that?
Yeah.
You tell the kids, could you come over and see this stuff? How'd you handle that?
Well, like Scott with the raccoon that he had in the 8th grade, his mother never made him get rid of that. So my kids on the East Coast and the West Coast would always say, oh, Mom, we'll pick this up later, but don't get rid of it. Keep it for me. So finally I decided that wasn't going to happen. And I was just I was brutal about it. I didn't ask them any more questions. I went through boxes of stuff and picked out a few things, like Christmas ornaments. That held lots of memories for me. I picked out some stuff and sent it to them. Didn't ask them any questions. And I really was brutal about it. The tassel that hung on our daughter's high school graduation class, that had to go. And they thanked me, and they look at the things I sent them, and they're very happy with them. And so I say this as a word of caution. You get in trouble when you're asking your kids what they want. You just make the decision.
It's true. Usually you have to give your kids a timeline. You have to get here by this weekend or it's gone.
Scott's mother should have told him never to bring that raccoon.
So what was the hardest part of downsizing for you?
Probably the hardest part was the downsizing. But I can tell you, and I think Scott feels the same way, that we really did focus on the memories of going through our stuff. And we laughed about certain photographs and the raccoon and things like that. So we realized that truly we had the memories. And it was fun, so much fun to share them. And we didn't really need the stuff. The stuff for us had almost become a burden. And it was very freeing or liberating, as the other lady had said for us. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And if you had to do it again, would you use Lynn and Melissa to pack and unpack for you?
Well, I can answer that one. And I would recommend to anyone that had the resources and wanted to do it, to take advantage of these great vendors that they have. It's worth every dime, and it's giving you and anyone that's coming with you a gift that is just immense, and you'll feel so good about it once you've finished it. You come in, and by the time they leave, you know where everything is. The coffee is in the kitchen, the bed is made. It's wonderful, and you feel like you just have moved over and shown up in a new place.
Beautiful.
I echo exactly what he said. I felt like it was a gift that you said, we're going to get some help. And the other thing I would say, I would have Beth come out and visit, and I might not tell her to go home quite as soon, but she brings this floor plan, and that was such an aid and such an help. She measured everything, and we really followed that. And that was just such an asset for us.
And it lets you get started early.
It does.
You put that tape on them, you know what you got that's going. Mm-hmm. You can look at the rest and say, how should I handle these?
Perfect. Well, you answered the rest of my questions, which was it worth the cost, and if there was any other advice you'd give to the audience. So I think at this point, the only other thing the other vendor that you did use, you used our resident referred Holloway company, which is Gone for Good. And I'm actually didn't you? They came and hauled it away. Do you want to speak just a little bit about that? Gone for Good is, again, a resident referred Holloway company, and when I come out to visit you, I send that in every single email to you. And with the understanding, we talk about it when I'm visiting with you, and I say to you, you may not know that you need a Holloway company now, and you may not think you might need it, but you're probably going to need it at some point, even if it's right before you close on the house and have to be out. And I'm going to let Janie speak to this, because I think this is exactly what people go through. What was your first thought when I told you this?
I will not pay anybody to haul off my stuff.
Why, Janie? Why?
Well, I can do it myself, and I can give it away, and it's valuable stuff, like those baskets. I don't know. We're not going to have to pay people to haul that off.
So what changed your mind?
Well, after you blue tape everything for several months, and you really realize about, and you give stuff to friends, and that was fun, because I can go to their house and see my stuff in their house. You get down to the point where you have more stuff than you ever realized. And Gone for Good, the aspect that appealed, that was the company we used. They donate the stuff to different charities. For example, right now I think they're working with Red Cross. And so I thought, well, what am I worried about? As long as somebody has the stuff and uses it and is happy with it, that makes me happy. So that too was a gift for us to have Gone for Good. So I totally changed and would hardly recommend them.
Thank you both so much. If you want to take off, I'm going to have Reed Husmer, the owner of Gone for Good, come up and just talk for a few minutes about what he really does. Reed?
We provide a service that is your one-stop service to take it all. And if you can donate it, great. If you've got the furniture and you've got the help to get it out, donate it to ARC. Donate it to Goodwill, or pick your favorite charity. We do work with several charities, but we do not provide a tax donation receipt. The reason for that is because it's stored in a warehouse, and we work with DHA, we work with ARC, we work with Metro Carrying, it goes on, Raft. Actually, the baskets are funny because I can't stand baskets, I'm sorry. There's so many of them. But we found a charity that works and loves baskets. It's a company called Raft. What I'd like to talk about today is Start Today. The biggest one that I want to talk about is liquids. We're not able to take that. It's hard to find a company that does take it, but call your city and see when their local roundup is going to happen. And that's with everything in that garage, everything underneath the sink. It's called the household hazardous chemicals. With this fall coming up is the best time. And also with this fall is electronics. Boy, is that a pain. Those old tube TVs can be pricey to get rid of. We are actually the middleman. We work with an electronic recycling company. But if you can be in that neighborhood roundup, it's excellent to get rid of it then. I know that Best Buy provides a service of TVs under 32 inches, and they charge you $25. There's several that, and I'll send this information to Beth. She has a whole list of information. But we work with companies like Blue Star Recycling, Techno Rescue, and MedTech Recycling. Another one is mattresses. We do take mattresses, but we do charge extra for that. If you're starting to get rid of them now, we work with a company called Springback, and they can come out and get rid of those old mattresses for you. So we have the big ones there. There's pianos. Those are always, I've had people call, I've called churches, I've called schools. Nobody wants my piano or organ. One we can try free, and there's a great app if you want it. use it or have friends and family help you out with it is called Nextdoor. I don't know if any of you have used that application at all, but it's a great way to get rid of stuff. You post it up free on that, and people are reading it, and they'll come and get it. Maybe their daughter's learning how to play the piano, and they'll move it out. There's a couple of moving companies we recommend. There's Extreme Piano Moving, and then there's Move and Tune, and they'll help. There's some that might take it away for free. So those are the big items. Pianos, pool tables are tough to get rid of too. Those are hard to haul away. And we also have information on that to help you out. But again, start doing your homework now. There's ways, if you got neighbors that'll help you move stuff into the garage, that'll help you donate that large furniture. You got Habitat for Humanity, you got ARC and Goodwill. The only problem with charities is they do not go down in that basement. You have to get those movers to do it. And again, that Nextdoor app, and I'm going to also tell you another one that you should write down that we even use sometimes. It's called Dolly. DOLLY. It's actually, you can hire movers from your phone to help move that stuff out of the basement or even move it to a neighbor's house that would enjoy that furniture. And again, we're that last call. If it's in the basement and you're not going to take it to Crest, just leave it there. I wish it was all in that Holloway box. I need to talk to Lynn and Robin about that, but that's part of our service. Leave it down there, we'll come and get it, we'll take it all, and we'll find a good spot for it. So thanks for your time.
Thank you, Reed. I think it's really important to know what he does. I think it's good to hear it directly from him. I am going to have one more resident come up on stage. Karen Rita, can we get you to come up? Come join us on the chair. Karen has been a resident with us for 4 months now. Karen, what was the reason you decided to move to Crest?
Well, first of all, the decision to move from Topeka, Kansas to Denver, Colorado was a rather difficult one because it meant leaving everything I had known for like 50 years. But I decided to move because I had no family around in Topeka, Kansas, and my son lived in Denver, Colorado. So that was the decision, to move here. I visited several senior places around Denver. The last one I came to was Crest, and it was hands down the best place to move. As I walked through it and toured it, I saw smiles on people's faces. They laughed, they talked to me, and they were happy people. And I thought, I want to be where the people are happy. And so I am.
I love that. I love that. We're going to introduce Robin Christian with a senior on the move. Robin, will you join us? Where is she? We're turning on her mic as we speak.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Perfect. Robin helped Karen. Even though Karen lived in Topeka, Robin spent a weekend out in Topeka helping her downsize. And then when she came out here, she helped her unpack and get settled. Now, that's pretty dedicated, right? Because Robin lives here in Denver, but Karen's also Robin's mother-in-law.
Aren't I lucky?
So I'm going to give you girls a few minutes to kind of work through so we can see how you would have worked, how you did work the weekend that you did some downsizing work together.
She did quite a bit on her own. I will tell you that she called me every couple of weeks to ask me questions, and so that was great too. We kind of did it from afar a little bit, but there were some things that weekend that we did have to go through, and sometimes too, like your kitchen, or sometimes you have to go through it a couple of times. So it's always good to start now and start working on your downsizing, because you might want to do it again in a couple of months. Go through those drawers and whatnot. So Karen, I'm looking at all this stuff here in your living room, in your pretend living room here, and I see these canes. Tell me about these canes. Do we need to bring them?
Well, I don't care about the rest of them, but that one in your left hand
Yes.
belonged to my grandfather, And I've had it for many years. I feel like it's a family heirloom. I'm not sure that I can give that up. Well, besides that, sometime I might need that.
You might. So we could bring, since you have, let's see how many, 5 here, we could maybe bring one.
Okay, let's bring that
okay,
one.
so I'm
That
gonna
would
put
be
that-
good. Get rid of the rest of them. They're ugly.
Okay.
I don't like them.
Okay, so we'll do that. Let's see. And then there's these tablecloths for, let's see, I see 20 over here.
I
There's a
do
lot
do a
of
lot of
tablecloth.
entertaining.
Let me get some of them
Maybe
out
I'll
here.
just use placemats. They don't take up so much room.
Okay, so we
Okay,
can
so
get
just
rid of,
get rid of all of those.
okay,
Yeah.
20
We'll use
tablecloths.
placemats.
Donation. Okay, so let's see. When we were, I don't see it here, but when we were in your kitchen, you had a KitchenAid mixer that you insisted on bringing,
Yes.
and because you make cinnamon rolls all the time. So that
Love to
heavy
make cinnamon
KitchenAid
rolls.
mixer, you decided to bring it, and I just want to say it's been 4 months, and I have not been invited over for cinnamon rolls.
Oh, is this about over? Can I leave now? I have a aqua exercise class in a few minutes.
So Karen, let me guess, you haven't had time to make cinnamon rolls?
No,
Okay.
there's so many things to do here, and you have to actually be at home to make cinnamon rolls. So as soon as I get a whole day at home, I'll do it.
So Robin, I don't think you should feel bad. There have not been cinnamon rolls coming out of her apartment, so
It's a good thing.
cute, very cute. So how did you make the decision? You're a baker. How'd you make the decision to what baking items to take, Karen?
Well, actually, I have many cooking vessels and utensils that I probably will never have out of the drawer. So after I've been here a little while, I may downsize a little bit more, and there's always the treasure chest to take things to that I can't use. So some of them will go to the treasure chest, and maybe I'll even use some of them.
Robin, why don't you join Karen on the other chair there?
Okay. I was gonna-
Karen, what was the hardest part of downsizing for you?
The hardest part was going through papers, boxes of mementos from trips, from friends, from parties, you know, the kinds of things that you keep. And so I went through those first because I knew that would be the hardest part, and I could get it over with and still have the memories. So I went through things piece by piece. I looked at them one more time to remember them, and then got rid of them. There was laughter, there were tears, but they went anyway. So I can remember them. And then the next hard part was photograph albums from trips. My husband and I traveled a lot, and so I went through those, looked at every picture in every photograph album, and took out just the important ones, like the ones that had my husband's picture in them. And so all of those are now in a little box this big, the important ones that I took out. So whenever I feel like I need to look at them, I can. In 4 months, I haven't done that yet. And I do admit to having a few photo albums left that I just can't get rid of yet. But they're the most recent trips. So that was very hard.
I think that's a very unique part of what Karen did. I think when we talk about where to start, I usually never tell you to start with the hard stuff, and that's the paperwork stuff and the photographs, because that's the stuff that you get into the weeds, and it can take you long time. And I see another one of our senior move managers shaking her head because she's like, yes, it can take a long time. And I think what happens is you get so frustrated with not making any headway. It doesn't look like you make any headway. So I love that Karen started with the hardest stuff for her, but she knew didn't you tell me you only worked for 2 hours at a time?
Yes, I just worked for 2 hours at a time, or approximately that, because it's very emotional.
Yeah.
And it's just not good for you to work day after day, hour after hour until it's done.
Yeah.
So 2 hours at a time is enough, and
Right.
then go do something
And if you
fun.
have the time, if you're not moving in for 9 months, you've got some time. If you're moving in 60 to 90 days, you don't really have the time. That's why I tell you, put it in a plastic box so it doesn't get moisture in it. And then, you know what? When you get here, have the kids, or you bring in one box at a time. And you work when you get here because you'll have more time. So that's one of those things I would share.
So Beth, I have an idea too that
yes.
I share with clients, and that is, files, especially files, take a few every day and put them by your chair that you watch TV, and just, and have a trash right there and have a keep pile right there. And then you can, go through the files just a few at a time and you're watching TV, so it's something that you'd be doing anyway. So that's an idea, to go through those hard things.
Yeah, that's a great
sometimes.
idea, Robin, because you know what? When we live in our home, we have a lot of space, right? And we run out of file cabinet room, what do? You go out and buy a new file cabinet. So you have more file cabinets than we need, but we have stuff in our file cabinets that we really don't need. So that's a great idea. Now, Robin, I know you've been working with Crest for 3 years, and I'm going to tell a little story here. Robin's parents moved into Crest a while back too, so that was kind of the beginning of it, and this is kind of where it all has evolved. So the fact that she has her mother-in-law living here, and I think she's got other family who's
My
lived
whole
here.
family
Her whole
lives here.
family lives here. Karen, is there anything else you want to share with our audience?
Yes, I want to talk about my move manager. When they came the morning that my furniture was available, they came about 8:30 in the morning, she and her crew of 3 people. The move truck arrived about the same time, and they worked all day. And when they left at about 4:30 or 5, the pictures were on the wall, everything was put away in the cupboards, my bed was made, and they vacuumed the carpet before they left, and I was settled. I felt like Dorothy from Kansas. I clicked my heels, and I wasn't in Kansas, but I was in Colorado at Crest.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Sandy Woodstra, my partner, to join me because she is doing a lot of the work with our out-of-state people right now, reservists, and I'm going to ask her to talk a little bit about how she can help you, no matter how many miles there are between you and I.
Good morning, everybody. Almost noon, but good morning. I hope you find it helpful so far. For most of you living here, you get the advantage of these vendors that we have here. And when Erickson chooses vendors, they're specifically doing the vetting for you so that you're not trying to figure out who is the best to have into your home, who's the safest to have in your home, and who's going to help you at where you're at in your life. And when we have a lot of people moving from out of state. A couple of them are here today, Mr. Seid and Mr. Egger, and we do the same thing for them. Now, I taught middle school for a long time, and I have to tell you, you're all a lot like middle schoolers, just so you know. And we used to do this thing where you'd put the kids back to back, and they'd try to describe to you what to draw. Well, that's what doing a floor plan over the phone feels like. So I don't know if I do that, but we do get those floor plans done for them too. We find moving companies. Now, you've met Karen out in the back. How many of you have talked with John at this point from High Tech? You're a little early for that. But they are one of our best moving companies, and they don't just move our locals. They also help move the long distance people. We'll find move managers in the area where the people live from out of town. So we're doing all those things for the people out of town. And the other thing we do, and it's been touched on, but a lot of you are in this category, is priority list members. If Beth hasn't already been to see you or myself, that's a great way to start. I know I have a couple people here who I started, and I know a lot of you have started with Beth as priority list members, and now you're reservist. You've started this process earlier for that reason. You're way ahead of the game in the planning. So those are some of the things we want to do for you. I think Erickson does a beautiful job of making sure you're not going through this alone. There's no getting around the messy stage. When you clean your kitchen, you have to go through the messy stage. But we try to make it as easy for you as we can. So I hope to talk to you afterwards, and priority list members, you too especially.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay, while the girls are still working on transforming the stage, I want to talk to you a little bit about our treasure chest. Some of you probably know about our treasure chest, and those of you who don't, I want to tell you, I always refer to it as Windcrest's own little Goodwill. Okay, it is resident run. It is all volunteer. Everything is donated, and all the money goes back into the community, or by choices by our residents. Okay, to date for 2018, $12,000 has been donated to the Student Scholarship Fund. It's a program for our students who work in our dining room, who wait tables for our residents, who can earn college scholarship money. Okay, and we're only partway through the year, so that's why a lot of things haven't been donated yet. But back in 2017, $15,000 was also donated to the Staff Appreciation Fund for those hourly employees who help our residents on a daily basis. So there's quite a bit of money that gets earned by our treasure chest, and we're so thankful to have it. And we have volunteers that do it. There is a table out there, so when you do go out there, stop and say hi. Why do I tell you this? Because you can help. Our treasure chest is willing to take donations from you right now, because as you're downsizing, here are just some of the items that they could use and that they definitely sell. So listen up. They could use stainless silverware. They can use pots and pans. They can use small appliances, kitchen items, sets of everyday dishes, and I know many of you have lots of sets. Costume jewelry. Here's a big one. Christmas items. But they want it before Thanksgiving. Okay? But they can also use Halloween, Thanksgiving, but they always need it before the holiday. Which is actually a really good thing to start. Like, you guys should be working on your Christmas decorations, the stuff you're not going to be taking to Windcrest. Work on that this September, this October, and donating it, whether it's to the treasure chest, whether it's to Goodwill, because these places do not want your holiday items after the holidays. They don't have any place to keep it for a whole year. Pottery, small rugs. Quick story. I heard this last year from the treasure chest. They had gotten a donation of 25 boxes of office supplies from a resident. That is a heck of a donation, don't you think? Think about that. It was from a resident. That means that that resident paid one of our moving companies to haul it here. 25 boxes of office supplies. Our treasure chest was thrilled to get it. But you know what? If you've got boxes of office supplies that you're not going to be using, bring it over. We'll help you get it in. Wow. Look at this. Nice. Very nice. Good job, girls. The stage is actually transformed. So this is exactly why we do this, because you need to downsize and you need to get to the right amount of stuff, but yet you still need to live in your home for the next 9 months, right? So this is exactly what we're talking about, is getting, if you can't do this on your own or you need help getting started, this is where all 4 of our senior move managers can come out and help you get to a manageable size. I do have some questions for you girls. Can you come out to the front so we can see you? I just want to make sure I'm saying the right things. You can help our residents pack right before their move, right? So they're not living with boxes for weeks?
Yeah, we usually pack the day before.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I told you to turn off your mics, and took your mics away, right? You usually pack the day before.
The day before.
Which is perfect, because then you're not living with boxes. Okay. And you can help unpack when they get to their apartment.
Absolutely. That's actually the most important service that people talk about, is that packing's great, but the unpacking is really, really helpful, because they're tired after months of getting ready to move and working, leading up to the move, and then on moving day, and then just being surrounded by 50, 60, 70 boxes. So it really helps them.
And what's the goal on unpack day, on move-in day?
Yeah, so we try to have all those boxes and all the paper, all the packing materials, we want them out of your apartment so you're not tripping over them, and we try to make sure that your kitchen is all packed, everything's put away where you would be able to find it and want to use it. Also making your beds, put everything away in your bathrooms. It's our goal to kind of make sure that you're all ready just to start your new adventure here at Crest.
And they can find the coffee maker in the morning?
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. You can help with downsizing right now
Yeah.
for a move in 9 months?
Yeah.
Okay. You can manage the entire move for them. You can do all or any part of what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Okay. Can they hire you for 3 or 4 hours just to see if this is worth what they want to, how to get started on downsizing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And complimentary estimates?
Yep.
Okay. So folks, take advantage of these girls. Like I said, we have 4 senior move managers today. They are out here. Go talk to them. Go talk to all 4 of them. They're amazing. They're like hiring your daughters. Thank you, ladies. So appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
When you came in, you were all given a handout, right? On the back of the first page was notes. Did you take any notes? Okay. The third page is moving companies. You have 2 of our 3 preferred moving companies here today. Please stop and talk to them. I've been doing this for 13 years, almost 13 years next month I've been here. We have gone through plenty of moving companies. We only put the best on these sheets. So please stop and talk to them. Get their cards. Talk to them and get to know them. The next page says helpful references. The first 4 are our first 4 are our senior move managers. So there's their information, but please stop and get to know them. Stop and say hi to them. Then there's Gone for Good. Read, talk to you for a few minutes here. The last one on that page is Store and Lock. That's our resident referred off-site storage company. Okay, there are plenty of off-site storage companies around. You can talk to any one of them. Any one of them going to help you. The thing that makes Store and Lock unique is that Andy and Gail actually live on site, and I think that's what makes our residents feel really comfortable. The next page talks about real estate agents. We've got 3 of our preferred here. Please stop and talk to them. We have plenty more, but the thing that makes these 3 unique is that they will go anywhere in the Denver metro area. But we can get you a preferred real estate agent no matter where you live in this country. And then the very next page talks about our Crest Custom Interiors. Please stop and talk to them, especially if you are moving into Prospect Crossing, because you're going to want to get their timeline. Okay? And then there's parking options for Prospect Crossing on the back. And then the very last page I refer to as our office business card, because it's a little harder to lose than an actual business card. Okay? Folks, I hope this program was enjoyable, fun, and thought-provoking. Thank you so much for being here today. Enjoy the rest of your day.